I was born and for 25 years lived in England, where 24 years ago, almost the day, I married a foreigner and we moved to Africa together. I haven't been back to England much since then. Of course, I love to visit friends and family, but I don't think I'll ever return to live there. I've changed. I know the country's changed. It would be like moving to a new place. And is that still what I want? Another new place, because I've traveled a lot in my life. Is it still home? My husband's never lived there. I'm not sure if he'd like it or if it would be a good place for him. He spent the first 25 years of his life in St. Louis, Missouri. And he moved a bit. He lived in San Francisco for a while, and then he changed his career. He was always in the medical profession. He got a job in Lesotho in southern Africa, and that's where we met, as you do. So anyway, shortly after that day, almost exactly 24 years ago, when we got married, we moved to Uganda, and we started our family. We have 4 boys. They were all born there, learned to walk and talk there, learned to swim in the lakes, the ones without the crocodiles in them, and the schistosomiasis. And they went to school there too. And then we moved to Eritrea, and they went to school there too, and this time in Italian. We all learned Italian there, because for historical reasons, Italy was the dominant colonial power there at one point. And then we moved to where we currently live, which is near Geneva in Switzerland. And that was the toughest move of them all. Anyway, one thing in common with all these moves is that you meet a lot of people that you don't know very well, and they don't know you. And people come and go a lot in expatriate communities. And a common question we were always asked, and people yesterday had the same thing here, meeting new people in this panel too. Me with my so British accent, my children with their Ugandan, Italian, American accent, and my husband with his Midwest drawl that he's had to change because back in the day in Uganda nobody understood American accents and they thought his name was Jan, but it's John. Anyway, you change, time changes you and you get changed by your experiences. But common question is, where are you from? Where are you from? Okay, well, I hate this question. I don't know how to answer it for myself or for my family. What do they want to know, I think? Do they think I come from another planet, maybe? Do they want to know my nationality, my passport? Do they mean, where were you born? I could answer that. Or do they want to know something about where I perceive myself as coming from? Because sometimes I'm tempted to give the long answer, and I can see people glazing over and thinking, well, I didn't really want to know that. It's too complicated. So anyway, I put people off, I can tell. As I said, I don't like that question and I'm not good at answering it. Okay, so some people back off and they say, okay, where's home? Okay, that one, I know I'm at home here. I can be at home anywhere. That, again, it doesn't look like it's the right answer, but I have a sense that I know what home is. Home is with my family. And, in fact, it is very important, I think, to have an idea of home for your sense of identity. And there's a wonderful short film about this with people like me and our children and our families that have moved home a lot of times, but you still feel at home wherever you are, by a girl called Aga Alegria. It's called Where is Home? You can find it on the internet. Anyone who's contact with expats and their families will know that this is a question that children and young people dread. They feel most at home in the airports. And that's what this film brings to light so delightfully. Anyway, in spite of knowing that home, I can feel at home anywhere, if you move, even to the next town, you're going to experience culture shock. And culture shock is debilitating. You feel right outside of your comfort zone. It leads to a loss of identity. You don't know what to answer when people say, where are you from? You don't know how to make yourself understood or presented in a way that people will understand you. You don't know what the cultural clues are that people can read so that they get a sense of who they're talking to. And equally, it's hard sometimes to figure out who you're talking to. You feel a sense of disempowerment. Nothing is familiar. And the stress, it's the everyday little things, especially when you're a mummy. You can't read the labels on the food in the supermarkets. You don't know what you're buying. Maybe there are no labels. Maybe there are no supermarkets. You have to learn a new way of finding food. You don't know how to use the money. Your body shape might be different. The clothes in the shops might be different from what you're used to wearing. The colours might not be the same, or the weight of the materials or something. You can't go out and get a new outfit to cheer yourself up and, as a little reward for a hard day or something like that. It's different. You just can't go out and do things like that. I mean, I can't buy a bra in France for the life of me. I'm just built like an ox and nothing fits. Well, that's what I feel. I know it's not true, but that's the reality when you come up against a different culture. So, being a parent and faced with all these unknowns and all this confusion and sense of, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on here, it was difficult because my children would ask a lot of questions. They'd say things like, well, I'd say, let's go shopping, come on, we're going to go out and have a little outing. And then we get there and it's all closed. Why is it closed today? Why are the shops closed? What's that man doing? Where are those people going? What's that? What's that for? Why are they wearing that outfit? What did she say? Or, where are we, Mummy? Because I'd always get lost in new places. And I had to say all the time to my children, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't be the mummy who had all the answers, who could tell these young people what they needed to know, to feel safe, to feel secure. I still love them, they still love me. But there are a lot of questions I simply couldn't answer because I didn't know the answers and I felt inadequate. Nancy Klein, in her book called Time to Think, makes a very good point that the quality of everything we do depends on the quality of our attention, the attention we give our surroundings. And one thing about living in a different country and being made aware of all these differences is that it forces you to pay attention. And the attention my kids played to the environment we lived in too, that helped me so much. It's a great way to start learning. I learned through the questions my children asked about the places that I was living in. And I learned that the best way to learn, is to ask a question. Their questions were so innocent. They're free of judgment. They hadn't been programmed like I was when I arrived in a foreign country to think, oh, we do things this way and they do things that way. They had none of that. They'd never seen another way of life. So there was no judgment involved in asking the questions. It was just curiosity and openness to finding out what's going on. Dr. Shimi Kang has written a wonderful book that Marlene put me in touch with called Parenting the Dolphin Way. That's not the full title, but that's enough. You'll find it out there if you look, Parenting the Dolphin Way. It's about nosing your children out to sea rather than being a tiger or a helicopter, basically. Anyway, it's a wonderful book. And she describes curiosity as follows. She says, when we look at the world through curious eyes, we don't judge or react, but simply observe and interact. Curiosity takes us out of our fear mode and engages our thinking brain. So that's why I do what I do, coaching fellow parents in the expat world. It's helping to engage the thinking brain, and that gives people a feeling of being back in control. Fear and uncertainty causes people to cover up their emotions and their vulnerability, and you feel you have to do that sometimes. But it's a key for progress that we can access these emotions and develop the vulnerability-based trust that we need to learn about ourselves and the others close to us. And there's so much uncertainty today. It's not surprising that we feel afraid or we can be overwhelmed, because everything is changing. A simple question like, where are you from, makes me panic. That's a new thing, I think, that we have to learn to deal with. And many of the certainties that our grandparents or even our parents had about what it meant to be a parent, those two are changing. And the changes are what we need to be involved with, and the quality of the attention we give to what's going on around us to help us move things forward. I'll finish with a quote from Alice. Lewis Carroll's Alice Through the Looking Glass. Alice came to a fork in the road. We're all at a fork in the road right now, I think, like Alice. Which way do I take, she asked. She was with a Cheshire Cat. She'd come across the Cheshire Cat hanging in a tree with his big smile. Not a very positive smile, but there he was. He said to her, okay, well, which way you want to take? Where do you want to go? He said to her. She said, I don't know. Well, said the Cheshire Cat, then it doesn't really matter. If you think it does matter, then it's up to you to decide what to do. I don't have the answers for you. I have a lot of questions, because I've learned that's the way to start. But it's up to you to find the answers. Thank you very much.